Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jade. This is part 2 of the W.A.R.T series on how to app on iOS. I hope you're all doing good. It's a strange one today, this one. So today we're going to talk about hope. Because I don't think enough people actually believe there is any at the moment. It seems that way. It seems like there's this movement of people that are continuously living in dread, and I can understand that dread and all that kind of, and fear and all that stuff can be overwhelming with everything that's going on in the world, but there's always hope. Absolutely always hope. In my opinion. So, I'm just going to doodle along today as I meander. Because yesterday, I actually, in ages, I actually felt like there was no hope. Which is really odd for me. So, I'm going to ask you guys in the chat throughout this today about hope and what your hopes are. Because it's an important thing to hold on to. Why? Because without hope, there's nothing. What is there to live for? What is there to wake up for the next day? What is there to dream for? Why would there be dreams if there isn't hope? You know, where would the music disappear to? Where would all that fantastic music that we cherish so much, that we hear and know in an instant, where would it be? It wouldn't exist. So I want to, for those of you who don't know, I want to show you a few things about me. So, most of you know that I'm transgender, and I'm pretty sure there's no nude pictures in here, maybe of ex-girlfriends, but that's okay. So that's not a nude picture. It's close. This was like 2015 for me, right? Everything was going super good in my life. And in a day, that vanished. That vanished from this. Unfortunately, to this. I'm going to sit on this one for a bit because this is my daily routine. And this episode today is especially hard because yesterday, this was my whole day. The last 24 hours of my day has been this. There's so much blood in my room at the moment, There's so much blood all over my sheets, my computer chair, my Apple keyboard's covered in blood. It's just everywhere because of the heat and my condition and my ITP. And yesterday, while I was thinking about this show and manifesting sounds and background music, which is, what's playing in the background is very specific. You may not hear exactly what it is, but it's very specific. It's targeted at you and me and everyone. But these photos, to me, what they remind me of, they remind me of hope. And even though yesterday, when I was laying there screaming, actually, at the top of my voice, just stop fucking bleeding. I have to admit, no matter, it felt like absolute shit so deep down in my soul, there was still hope. There's still hope every day. Not necessarily that this is going to go away. This is going to stop. Right? And then this morning I woke up. So everything I wrote for yesterday I've had to throw in the bin because it's a completely different day. Today I woke up and I've got a black eye, like this one here. So the heat, there's enough heat going through the air yesterday in my room, which got up to about 38 degrees Celsius. It was so stifling, even with an air conditioner on. My actual body started bruising up, and I've got like about 30 bruises across my legs, arms. And yesterday, I'll be honest, I actually felt like there was no hope. But today I've woken up and there is. Why? Because I'm still here. I still continue to defeat the hand that was given. And, you know, this isn't a pity party, seriously. This isn't about... I'm just making a point because I know many of us who watch this show every day or who interact with me every day away from this show understand hurt and suffering and things that are going on, and we're all dealing with shit. We're all dealing with medical conditions. We're all dealing with so much stuff, right? But every time I speak to every one of you guys every day, there's hope. I'm just going to move over to the comments because I'm not actually not looking at them, and I'll say hello to people here. Let me sit on that for a bit because it reminds me. Pete Johns, hello. Welcome to the chat. Pete John says, I like to use positive social proof to generate hope. The more people you listen to and learn from who are overcoming adversity, the more personal hope you can muster. I agree. I'm going to say hello to people here. Deep Gravity, hello. Gary Hubbs, Lady Rhodaline. Man, my brain is not here today. I've got my window open because it's so stifling hot here. And Danny Broderick, where are we? Ed Zielinski, SM Borthwick, Tom Rochelle, Scott, howdy do. Let me keep scrolling. Alex, Bacchus, Russ, Cold Acre, no banning anybody today. Thomas Rochelle, and poor Tom. Yesterday, last night, while I was actually getting the show ready. I was talking with Tom, Thomas Gillane, and I was doing some mastering for his music. And while I was trying to help do this mastering of his track, it was so hot in here, it actually got to 38 degrees Celsius with the air conditioner on, and there was blood. There was blood everywhere. It was all over my keyboard, and I just kept pushing through to try and do my best to finish his track, not because I felt obligated to, because In my head, I had hope that it would finally stop bleeding. And you know what? It did. It was about 5 minutes after he said, get some sleep, go look after you, good night. And I don't know, it was like a tap turned off my nose. Andy Goldsby, so thank you, Thomas, for being there last night and giving my brain something else to think about. All right. Who else is here? Stu Cash, Jessica Jan, hello. Sorry, I'm very distracted today. Bubba, how do you do? Joey Helpish, hello. If I've missed you, I'll catch up because I'm going to ask you all. Dean Thomas asks, what condition do you have? I have a condition called ITP. And so I'll explain a bit about it, just so you know. So, let me scroll down to the bottom here. Basically, I cannot clot blood anymore. So I have no platelets in my blood. And the platelets are actually created at the base of your spine. And it takes about, like, it took about a month. Like, just one night I was out with a friend at a club, and I just started bleeding from my nose, started bleeding from my mouth, I was covered in bruises, I had black eyes, I was just covered in blood and bruises for no reason while I was at a bar having a drink. And then I went into a hospital and they put me straight up on a blood transfusion, a platelet transfusion, and I was in hospital for about a month before they decided to remove my spleen, because that is the cure for it, apparently. But it is a very unknown disorder. And so about 97% of people who have their spleens removed recover, and I happen to be in the 3% that never will. So now I just have the unfortunate daily grind of bleeding from my face and nose randomly, and it's shit. But I still have hope, right? Because it led me down it's taken me down an amazing path. So I want to, now that I've explained that to you and got it out the way, I still have hope, right? So much hope. Why? Because there's so many great things that have come from it. And sure, you can sit there and dwell on the misery of all that kind of stuff, and you know, I've gone through all the stages of, like, being on Facebook and posting horrific photos like that, and going through the suicide stuff and going, I don't want to be here anymore, and doing all that shit, and realizing that everybody else is going through similar stuff. It may not be on that extreme, but we're all going through some layer of hardship, some layer of personal pain, some layer of personal illness, some layer of personal despair. So, because that's life, you know, and the worst saying that there is going around that's become a thing is, it is what it is. And why does it happen? Why do people say it is what it is? Because unfortunately, it is what it is. And, you know, you've all heard the saying, you know, what you make when you're handed lemons, if you're not making lemonade out of them, what the hell are you doing? Because you should be making something decent out of them. And look, the pandemic has gone through, has impacted every one of us over the last year. So I want to touch on the pandemic as well. And there's been people who have been like, you know, you've got people on, I nearly said good people on both sides. Don't quote me on that. Just let me change the music up a little bit, because I've got some things in here that are important. Let me see. All right, so we're going through a 100-year pandemic at the moment, right? And there are people who are like, it's fake, it's not real. There are people like, how are we going to get out of this? There are people like, I don't want to take a vaccine. There are people like, oh my God, look how many people are dying. There are people like, oh, it's only a cold. And look, the flu takes just as many people. But the one thing is that you can guarantee from all of it, no matter where you fall on the spectrum of belief systems or any of this stuff, we're going to get through this, and we're going to come out the other side of it. Why? Because throughout history, we have done so in the past. We've done so with Black Plagues. We've done so with the last major pandemic. Even when, back then, there was literally no hope. And millions and millions and millions of people died. There were no medicine. There were no forms of communication like the internet. Right, for us to actually keep in touch and do this kind of stuff. So if anything, the odds are that there's far more hope than ever before. That's definitely the truth. We have access to music on tap. We have access to entertainment on tap. We have access to so much communication and support, even though it's not face to face. Right? But at the same time, I think we're safe to say and understand that the communication's being used to manipulate at the same time, you know? And to create fear, and to create negativity, and to create division. Like, it's definitely there. That's what's so important about communities like this. I mean, we definitely, I know since starting this channel, and most of you know, when I started this, it wasn't to try and make a lot of money or really do anything for some kind of fame or success. It was for the simple reason of hope, to get out of bed each day, because I felt I was just laying in bed each day wasting away, dealing with the blood. The blood was just all I was dealing with, right? This show actually gave me hope to not have to deal with the blood every day. Even though I'm still physically dealing with it, I'm not dealing with it sitting in my mind and consuming me and drawing me into all of this negativity that's going on in the world, you know. Because for those of you who are on my Facebook page, you know what I'm kind of like. Now, I've left the window open today because you'll hear traffic because it's just so hot in here, and I have to do so. And a lot of people, I'm just going to say, a lot of people blame what's going on in the world on one particular person. one particular person. It didn't work very well, but it kind of did. Here we go. Donald Trump. He's the evil person who's creating fear amongst us all. He's the one. Sure, this person here who I badly drew on my screen with my pen, this guy's created and manifested so much fear and negativity and getting people riled up. And the one thing that he isn't giving anybody is hope. Not one iota. In fact, many politicians aren't giving anybody hope these days. Right? And that's all I'm going to talk about on politics. Because we don't need to go any further with it. It's not important. Because he's gone now. His power is 0. So I want to know from every one of you in the chat, what gives you hope? Just one thing at least. One thing, straight, first thing that pops into your mind. What gives you hope each day? Is it music? Is it a family member? Is it love? What is it? What gives you hope? Well, I switch things up here. Skies Watcher says music. I agree. Jessica Jan says, my kid always gives me hope. Synth Widow, who I sat up with yesterday and had got a massive chat with. Many of you I think I've had massive chats with in private. Says, Doug, Seba says, not thinking about there is not hope. That works as well. Gary Hub says the innocence of children. Scott says, well, my kids give me reason, so I guess that's hope. And see, I didn't even know you had kids, Scott. Pete John says, my hope comes from the fact that while there are many things I can't control, the positive influence I can have on the world is tangible. Barbara says, I love you all, but politics and religion are my boundary. I find hope in making someone smile. Tom Rochelle says, the youth are much less terrible than older folks, and they are slowly but surely going to take over power. That gives me hope. Yep. The gravity that there are still good people in the world. And all the bad ones eventually die. And you know, we all do eventually die. Every single one of us. We all die. And that's not a bad thing either. And that's something I'm going to be talking about in another episode of this. Doctor's Orders says, making new friends and learning about people and the world. Russ says, hope for me is getting on with it the best way that you can. Lady Roadline Straight says, after being medically retired, more doors opened rather than closed to me. It could have gone so many different ways. All right. Danny Broderick, I hope the world restabilizes. I can't even say that word. Restabilizes for the future of children. Hey, Mr. Fun. It's a bit of a different episode today. No apps. Because apps don't mean the world. Dean Thomas says, my children and my music give me hope. Meeting new people in the iOS community is also something I look forward to, which I think is giving me hope as well. Stu Cash says, my kids all day long. So look, just going by what people are writing, it all seems like everybody still has hope. And that's the best thing. It doesn't really matter what I say today, what I spew out of my mouth, because it's not really about me. It's about you. I want to know if you still have hope. And it's so refreshing to see that you do. And I just want to remind you all about hope, because we do get so lost in everything that's going on that we forget to have hope. Pete Jones says, the more I learn to focus on what I can control and influence and not the bullshit that I can't control, the more hope I have. Yeah, look, and it's exactly my thoughts as well. I have a close friend of mine, Becky, who I love so much at the moment. She's gone through absolute hell the last year in America, being a critical worker in old age care facility while the pandemic is smashing through that country. She's watched so many elderly people die on her ward. She's contracted COVID twice. If she gets it again, she's dead. She's had no support from her work or anything like that. All right? She's petrified of what's happening at the moment over there. She's absolutely terrified. And if she's watching this, if you are watching this, Becky, I'm going to talk directly to you. There's hope. Just don't focus so much on the crap. Just go easy on it. Let it work itself out. Because it will. It has. And it will again. All right, so I want to ask you all too, because little do you know, I'm kind of programming you all a little bit here. There's some things going on in the background. Maybe, sort of, kind of, sort of. You're looking at them on the screen. I want to know what music. Give me one song, every one of you, that reminds you of hope. Give me one song. Give me a song in the chat, folks. Just give me a song title. And then we'll bring this bitch home. Alright, so Ordinary World by Duran Duran. Thomas Gillane, that was by Scott. Thomas Gillane says, Rob Duggan, The Life of the World to Come. That one always loosens up emotions for me. Alex Backus, Friday, I Am in Love by The Cure. Gary Hubbs says, what a wonderful world. Mr. Fung says, I'm feeling cheeky by the Spice Girls. Spice up your life. There you go. Simon and Garfunkel, feeling groovy for SM Borthwick. Danny Broderick, Gary Moore. Pete Johns, is that a song? Thumb Love for Hope. Is that an actual song? Or are you just trying to convince people to put a thumbs up? Oh, there we go. That's better. Lady Rowline, Don't Give Up. One by U2 for Dean Thomas. Skies Watcher says, for the vibe more than the lyrics, I still haven't found what I'm looking for, even if Bono nowadays is a bit lost. Gary Hubb says, Tub Thumping. Okay. Pete John says, Tool. Anima. It's not weird. Weird, I know, he says. Not really. Scott says, speaking of you two, Walk On. Andy Goldsby says, Here Comes the Sun. Alex Backus says, Beautiful Day. There's so many songs. So many songs that, you know, and I just want to talk about music before I do roll on for the day. Anything by Florence and the Machine, by Mr. Fung. Although music is very hopeful. You know, have you ever noticed that the songs that do hang around forever aren't really because of the artist, more or less? If you listen to the message of the songs that are the ones that we know and come on and kind of unite us and bring us together, more than likely there's a higher percentage than not are songs of hope. They resonate with us. Even songs that are sad, because as Elton John once said, sad songs say so much. There's some more songs coming in. The U2 album, that U2 album came out after 9/11, was actually a pretty hopeful album, I think. It definitely was. Compared to the one they just put on Apple Music and made us all listen to, that one definitely wasn't very helpful, very hopeful. It was hopeful that you could get it off your music player, because nobody asked for it, and we all got forced to listen to it. Tom Rochelle, We're in This Together by 9 Inch Nails. Deep Gravity, a song by Dead Can Dance, but I can't remember the name of it. Alex Backus says Anxiety by Pete Johns. Very true. Angry Anderson, Suddenly by Doctor's Orders. The point is, there's a lot of fantastic music, and without music, I think many of us wouldn't have hope. Even people who don't realize that music does do this for them, does generate hope. It's part of the reason, seeing recently with all this Spotify drama, with all these artists being removed from Spotify and everybody up crying about it, oh my god, songs being removed. It's really sad, because I think it's sad, but not at the same time. It's actually identifying and putting out in the light those people who are making music not for the reason of making good music. If you get what I'm saying without me really saying it. Anyway, I've got a challenge for you all today. This show was never meant to be anything more than just to remind everybody to, every now and again, remember to be hopeful. Just because it's okay to. And you know, I don't want to go down a religious path or a political path. I did kind of talk about it for a second, but just remain vigilant, remain hopeful, lean on each other, and things will be good. They always come good to some degree. So look, if there's anybody out there getting ready to write a new song, if you're inspired, because I feel like this year's gonna have a lot of bad stuff happen. There's gonna be a lot of good stuff happen this year. There's gonna be a lot of replenishment this year, a lot of new growth, a lot of new hope. I can feel it. I think so. And if I'm wrong, so be it. I'm still going to get up each day and try and drain from my hope well every single day that I can. Even though I won't lie, this week has been incredibly hard. And I wish the heat would just fuck off. But I'm going to put it out there. If you're considering writing a new song over the next week or two, maybe write a song about hope. Last year it was so easy for people to write about lockdown, about being in a cage, and how the world had changed. How about we start off this year by perhaps writing a song to kick off the year about hope? I've started doing it. I've started writing a song yesterday about hope. And I'm not setting a goal to have it out by, a month or anything like a Songtember challenge. But I'm going to, over the next couple of weeks, include it into these shows and see if I can get this song finished and released. So, this isn't a doctor's orders by any stretch, but it's just, perhaps if you're thinking about writing a new song, perhaps write a song about hope. And maybe set the yardstick for the year that is ahead. Right, I'm going to wrap up because just as I said that, I've got a blood nose. So, one sec. I'm just going to get through it, and you're going to have to deal with it for a second. Oh God, I'm glad I'm not on camera today. So what we're going to do before we wrap up is kind of break out of this hope thing and give some other people some hope to maybe make some music. And we'll do that by giving away these apps. Because we've got to do it. So yeah, let's do this. So I think there's about 16 people who entered for this. Oh man, 16 for the 4 Waves giveaway. So let's bang these through. So I got 2 of these to give away. Danny Broderick, well done. You've got one of those, Danny. Let's put a star next to you with one hand on my nose, one hand on my keyboard. And it's funny, you typed thanks Jade before I ran that. So it's like you preempted what was going to happen there. And 16, Mark Bennett. There you go. I don't think Mark's won before. Oh, no, that was 10. Sorry, I'm wrong. That was 10. So Sorry, Mark, if you're watching this. I just can't see properly. So Mick Turner. It was 10, yeah? Yeah, it's 10. Cool. Alright, so that's that done. Cool. Tomorrow, so we're gonna look at this bass amp tomorrow. This new bass amp, this Bass Deluxe. And we're going to give away some copies of that as well. And see, Danny hoped he would win. See, folks, have hope, and all will be good. All right. G'day, Ed. Welcome along. So, yeah, I know, brutal, huh? All right, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Look after each other. Focus on hope today, because it's worth it, yeah? It's worth it to focus on hope, because there's plenty of it to go around. And thank you all very much, as usual, for supporting the show, letting me do this once a week ramble. I'm going to say this every week. It's probably going to get boring. Next week, I'll be more on point, and I'll know what I'm talking about. But what I wanted to say, I've said, so stay hopeful. Because we got this.